Debbie Brew, 15 Cindy Lane. I had to jot my grateful aggravation on my notes or I would forget. So I am grateful for especially the full committee reports, so thank you. Because most people don't have any idea what is being discussed in committee reports, so there may be no reason to go searching the website in their busy schedules for a committee report. However, they are listening to the meeting in their car or during their commute or at home, and they are also now watching. Thank you. I am also grateful for board members like Mr. Reddy and Mr. Wall continuously bringing up concerns and questions so that the public also can hear those, because they may also have the same concerns and questions, which I do on the homework. And Jamie, with the bullying, I'm glad you're looking into that, because I think it sounds great. We only have one HIV, but it takes a lot to get an HIV, and there's a lot of other bullying going on that needs to be addressed. And it seems that you're continuously discouraging the board members from having questions in committee reports, and that they should be emailing them, and that they should be discussing it before, and you all get the notes, and why isn't this being brought up? And I keep hearing that more and more over the last 6 months, especially more than ever, that the board members seem discouraged to share their comments and questions, especially during committee reports, and I really hope that your position on that changes, because it really prevents transparency, and it's very disappointing. The past couple months, I try not to speak about it, but it keeps coming up.
I'm happy to respond to that, because there's a few things. One of the things that I've done as board president, and I think people have been on the board with me since that time, was to encourage more transparency. So let me explain the committee, how we run through the committee now. And so everyone who's listening to me is clear. We have our standing board meetings. The week prior is when all the committee meetings occur. They go at least 1.5 hours to some 3 hours a night. At those committee meetings, we have board members and we have one set of committees where 8 board members split amongst it, and you can see with the Buildings and Grounds report and Budget and Finance, they are given a lot of information upon which we can take action, and it will support every resolution that's on this agenda. If you recall, there was one board meeting where we had to stop for an executive session, and it was because the resolution items that were on our agenda that night hadn't been through committee, so we broke. My goal has been to encourage greater transparency so that everyone in the public knows what we are acting on. And I use the committee structure and this board together. We use it to make sure every item that is voted upon by this board has first been through committee, has first been discussed. If it's not ready to be presented to the public and on a board agenda, it won't get posted to the agenda. It will be subject to further discussion by the board. So that's how we run the committees. And then what we're trying to do, and I remember Joe used to always be on us to try to get the committee notes out, is to get the committee notes out as early as possible so that people who aren't on those committees can ask those questions. And so that's how we run. So every item you see on our agenda has been through a 1.5 hour to 3 hour meeting. And then if also Dr. McGarry, he emails us when you all get your notes on Sunday, you get a note from Dr. McGarry, we get one on Saturday or Sunday as well. That includes a lot of information that might relate to our agenda items or other school-related items so that we can be as informed as possible, so that the public can be as transparent as possible on anything that we are doing as a board. So my goal has been to encourage greater transparency, not less. And I hope my feedback that I've received from the board is that that's what we're accomplishing. As far as the information, when I do say to Mr. Reddy, and Pete, I'm sorry to call you out on this, but why didn't you say something about homework earlier? It's because I've had other board members come to me, Ms. Brew, and ask me to do just that. Because they're putting in a lot of time, they're attending a lot of meetings, and they've asked me to make sure that I almost support them in terms of making sure we as a board are doing the work that we need to do before we come here once a month and act on items that are very important to all of us. So, as board president, I have to adhere to some of the direction given to me by my board. I don't intend to do it to discourage transparency. Mr. Reddy will tell you, I will usually pick up the phone if he calls me, if he has a question. I know a lot of the other committee chairs do it. We are doing everything we can to come to this board meeting prepared and ready to act.
Okay.
And that's, and be able to answer your questions. There's another component, and that's what I've been trying to use the committee process as well, and Dr. McGarry's reports to the board, is to make sure that if when we're all walking around on the streets and everyone asks us questions like, why are you guys doing this, or what's going on here, we speak as one voice. We speak as a board. And that's it, and that's all we can. So I don't ever want anyone on this board to be walking around on the streets, in the ShopRite, at the park, at Bell Works, at a Girl Scout meeting, not knowing what's going on. I want everyone to feel comfortable. And if they don't feel comfortable, and at a committee meeting, if there's information shared with us at a committee meeting, it's not ready to get this to the agenda, it's not getting on the agenda. Because that's how important I believe, and our committee structure should work for us. And in light of the tremendous burden that's imposed upon us in terms of a lot of the information that we have to delve into as a board to be able to come here and do what we need to do once a month, the committee structure is the best way possible that we can act, as far as I can know. I know Mr. Wall, he likes the committee of the whole, but there's so much going on, and at times we can act as a committee of the whole. The ad hoc committee, there was a lot of, I didn't come out at a board meeting and explain everything that people were saying to me, because I can't on a lot of items. But we created the ad hoc committee gave us an ability to sit down as a committee, as a board, and start looking at things a little bit more carefully with a closer lens. And that's what the committee structure gives us the ability to do. So while we might not be sitting here and rehashing the hour-and-a-half meetings at a board meeting, we're doing the best we can to convey to the public what we're doing, and also let you know that what we've discussed here, what you see, what we're voting on tonight, has been fully vetted so that everyone's comfortable. That has always been my goal, because that's been some of the concerns shared by me, by the board.
Okay. Thank you for explaining how committee works. I already knew that, but for everybody else listening, I still stand by my comment that when you ask Mrs. Amorati, she could do a summary in the future and doesn't have to give a full report. It's great that the 9 of you know exactly what's going on in committee. You could share your questions back and forth, but it's also very informative for us to know. And so I know what you're saying, how it comes to an action item, but if Pete had emailed her his question about homework, then I would appreciate if you don't want them asking questions to the public that elected all of you so they can hear it, then include Pete's question in the report. I had a question about homework. Where are we now?
And I think a lot of our committee chairs, when they get questions or comments, they do try to address that in the context of their committee report. And there's even times on information that I've gotten, on Mondays we have a leadership meeting, Monday or Friday, it depends. And in leadership meeting, Mrs. Lou and I, we did it, and this year Eileen and me, any questions or comments or concerns that have been shared to me by board members, it's discussed then. If there's any update that's needed, it goes out. I mean, it's just a constant.
Okay. I will just say.
And we try to, and going to your point,
yeah, because
we try
I
to
interrupted you the whole time that you spoke, but go ahead.
And we try to tailor our comments in our committee chair reports that are posted publicly based on information that we receive.
Okay, but still, every month I come, and every month things are brought up, and they are admonished to not bring them up again. And I will just say that I would not like to hear that anymore as a member of the public, and I would like all these questions, whether they're emailed or not, to be included, because I am interested in the things that they've asked about, and I'm grateful, since I elected these people, that they are asking on my behalf.